Welcome back to Inspired by You, the podcast. Today I'm sitting down with Chef Sakari. He worked his way up from a fast food worker to top 7 chef on this season of Hell's Kitchen. He's also an entrepreneur, a YouTuber, a content creator, and the founder of Noble Promise Studios. So you started from kind of some humble beginnings. What fast food restaurants or restaurant did you work at, and where are you cooking now?
So my first restaurant job was McDonald's. I was like 15, 16 years old. I thought I was gonna be my career path. It was the only thing I was good at. I learned a lot there because I learned about how to storytell and like part of like upselling and the importance of a smile, things like that. The only reason I went to college was because it was right next door to a McDonald's. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be it. So I'm gonna buy McDonald's and that's what's gonna be it. But then I got introduced to culinary food and culinary arts and just fell in love with it. And that's kind of in my path for the past 12, 13 years. Became student chef of the year. Won a gold medal with Team USA when I was back in college. Graduated, worked at one of the best restaurants in New York City, Marie, which had 2 Michelin stars at the time. Then I worked at 11 Madison Park, which had 3 Michelin stars, the number 1 restaurant in the world at that time. And then kind of just started traveling. I did like a Black chef food tour, right? So I went around the country, started working with a Black chef. I went to Europe. Before I went to Europe, I got a Michelin star when I was 24. I was working with my friends, Lower East Side of Manhattan. We did a restaurant together, Masake type of vibes. 15 seats. People started to really love it, but it had to close because there was no social media presence. There was no marketing. It was very old school owner and stuff like that. But the chef, and I worked with Marco, he was from the Netherlands, so he helped me get to the Netherlands. So I worked out there, came back, and then just been started Noble Promise. So my name, Sakari in Swahili, means Noble Promise, which means you have a promise in the future and you keep to your word. And we just started doing pop-ups. And then most recently, we for the last year, we've pivoted to a media company because we've started to understand the importance of storytelling. So we want to tell stories of ourselves and of others that are emerging brands and emerging talents. And that's really what I've been focused on. So, right now we're raising money to open up our restaurant in Brooklyn via the NFT project. Part of the percentage and the funds are going to go to Black farmers, the National Black Food Justice. So we start selling actual physical canvases of the dishes that I've been doing. I've been dropping a dish every single day for Black History Month.
Yeah, I've been seeing that.
So okay. So we're gonna start actually selling physical printouts of that, signed by me, little QR code, things like that. Do little fun packages, whether it's a FaceTime with me or cooking with me and things like that. We'll figure all that type of stuff out. But really just raising money, really just kind of taking this opportunity, this time right now, all in. It's a crazy time.
Man, that's super dope. And man, thank you for explaining, kind of how your journey went. And that's just amazing. That's super dope what you've been doing and all these opportunities, kind of that you've been blessed with. What's your earliest memory of cooking?
My earliest memory of cooking was, I remember there was my grandfather's Jamaican, so there was a big Caribbean party at the house, right? And I remember I was hungry. I was starving. I was like, man, I'm so hungry. I went up to my mom, Mom, can you make me a sandwich? She's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do it. Never did it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go do it myself. I went in the kitchen. I must have been less than 10 years old. I don't remember how old I was. I went up to I remember the counter was so tall. I remember picking up peanut butter and jelly, made a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It was the first thing I ever made. And from that time, I just started to fall in love with the freedom of cooking, the independence of it. You know what I mean? It's not having to rely on anybody. So I went from that. And then I remember the second thing I ever made was just scrambled eggs. My dad was known for my dad used to have a restaurant back in the day, a Southern restaurant. And he his famous thing was cheese eggs. So he used to make cheese eggs or whatever case is that, and his eggs would always taste different than everybody else's. So I remember just making scrambled eggs and peanut butter and jelly sandwich the first thing.
I think one of everybody's first foods that they've cooked is scrambled eggs for sure.
100%. I hear that from everybody. I think it's because it's a breakfast food. It's something easy and simple. But I definitely love it for sure.
Yeah, you'd be disappointed. I don't eat eggs anymore.
You don't eat eggs?
I don't. You said what?
You vegan?
No, I'm not vegan. I literally just don't like eggs. I eat them in stuff, but scrambled egg, I don't know. Breakfast foods just
You don't eat breakfast? The most important
Nah,
meal of the day?
yeah, I don't like. I just skip it,
Okay.
and then
Wow. All right. I actually heard if you skip breakfast, actually a good thing when you do like intermittent fasting stuff.
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well. So yeah, I
So
never
lean
eat
lean into
until like
that.
lunch. You said
Please.
what?
I said lean into that. Just be like, yeah, I'm doing it because of health reasons.
No, literally, that's what I say. I'll be like, yeah, I just fast until lunch,
There you
But
go.
really, I just don't like breakfast food, and then I just be super busy until 12 o'clock. Then I'll be like, man, I'm starving. um, so was there anyone or anything who inspired you or the way that you cook?
I mean, of course, I think you get inspired every single day. I mean, I try to motivate myself a lot. I think, you know, I remember walking in New York City and just getting inspired by the buildings, looking up at the building and seeing how tall they were. And I was like, I just want to be free and tall at the building. But I think people that inspired me, my family, of course, my mother, my father, number one supporters, my grandparents, you know what I mean? Super supportive of me and like just kind of always wanted to make them proud. So that's been an inspiration. But as far as chefs, Thomas Keller, you know what I mean? I look at like the Gordon Ramsays of the world, the Thomas Kellers of the world. I look at like the Steve Jobs, the Gary Vaynerchuks. I look at like life from an entrepreneur standpoint, but then I also look at it from a very like standpoint of cooking. And I think whatever it is that you do, whether it's the J. Cole's or Jay-Z's, the Kevin Hart's, I think one common thing is in order to be great, you have to make other people great.
I
So
like
it's
that.
like even though you're doing your thing, it's like you look at all these people, they've had people that came after them that were great, that they were able to mentor, they were able to kind of help uplift. And that's really what I'm like want to do long term is help uplift people, right? So uplift children by helping them inspire them and to motivate them to eat healthy. Help motivate and inspire my friends to give them a platform to showcase what they're doing, right? As I go on throughout my journey of life. So it's really just uplifting all of us together. And I think that's just so important.
No, definitely. I agree. That's like the whole idea behind this podcast that I have. And a lot of it came from, I changed the name of it. So it used to be called Imperfect on Purpose. And like the story behind that was like, I was a perfectionist and I was so obsessed with everything being right. And so like, I was
Yeah.
forcing myself to do the podcast and not have everything be perfect. And then, once I kind of got over that, I was like, I'm kind of over that name. Like, what can I make that has more of like a lasting, effect and like more of an inspiration? And then I was just like inspired by you. I mean, I feel like that fits because, like you said, we're all kind of being inspired, every day by somebody, or we're all inspiring somebody. And so, no, I love what you just said. And man, that was a bar too when you were like, um, yeah, you can be great, but you got to make other people great too. So I rock with that. I love that. How has growing up in New York influenced the way that you cook or create with food?
100%. I think, one of the best pieces of advice, I heard it from Wayne, Little Wayne, people that I don't know, Drake, right? And Gary Vee, right? People that inspire me. They all said in a similar capacity, which is like, you have to lean into yourself, right? Like that's the best piece of advice. Like lean into who you are, right? So I started thinking about who I am, and I'm like, man, I grew up in New York. I am New York. You know what I'm saying? My pops, he was a black spade, which was before like he used to be security for African Bambaataa, right? Back in the day in the Zulu nations and like stuff like that. So he was part of culture, he was part of hip hop. So like hip hop, R&B, music, New York City, like that vibe, Harlem is all a part of who I am. And I've just been trying to lean more into who I am. So how does it inspire my cooking? I think, every pop-up we do, we showcase R&B, 90s, 20, you know what I mean? Music, hip-hop music, stuff like that, things that's inspired me on my journey. And then just really like, I think using what's around you, right? Like the markets, I think New York City is such a special place. I think it's the best city in the world. It might be a little biased, but growing up, I grew up in Long Island, right? So Long Island's about 45 to an hour away from New York City. But my pops grew up in Harlem. My mom, she grew up in the Bronx. My dad grew up in the Bronx too, but they used to take me to the city not every weekend, but like a lot, right? And on these trips, on these rides to the city, I used to hear like R&B music, jockey, and all that type of stuff. And then I used to get to the city and I would just light up and see like Times Square, all the lights on. I'm like, yo, it's 11 o'clock at night. Like, this is incredible. Like, what? You know what I mean? And then we used to go to 145th in Lexington, is a fish and chip place. So we always used to go there and get fish and chips, just like a cool memory. So I think just taking those memories and creating my own memories, into the food that I do. And all the food that I do has a memory. It's a soul, has a soul, it has a story, it has a purpose. I'm just not just cooking scrambled eggs to make scrambled eggs. It's a dish that resembles my father, right? Or it's a dish that resembles history of some sort. So I think just storytelling through where I come from is just a big part of what I do.
Yeah, that's super dope. I ain't gonna lie, I agree with you though. I love New York, like
Okay.
Brooklyn especially. That's my city. Like I rock with Brooklyn. I even named my daughter Brooklyn. Like,
oh wow, you really
yeah,
you
somebody done already told me I'm honorary Brooklyn. Like I get that vibe, like I could be from there.
I mean, once you named your daughter after, you got it. That's
exactly.
It.
minus the accent that you said I had.
Yeah, that you definitely have, but yeah, minus that. You don't have a Brooklyn accent, but you definitely got a accent. But yeah, you got that.
No, definitely. So we do have something really random in common.
Oh, really?
We kind of bonded over the fact that we were both team Gary V. So my little Gary V backstory is me and you started following each other when or I don't know if I started we connected when after I was on Tea with Gary V.
Kristin, the brand is you. Look at your handle. Life is Kristin.
Which was like, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Gary V did kind of like a pandemic show where he was like interviewing people and kind of answering questions. So I was on Tea with Gary V back then. And so I had been a Gary V fan for quite a while before that. And I kind of manifested to my friends, like, listen, y'all, I'm going to be on Tea with Gary V. Like, I'm going to send in my questions every day. Every time it would come on, I sit at work and like watch it every morning, like faithfully. I was like, I can't wait till I'm on here. And they're like, who is Gary V and what are you talking about? But then I put everybody on, I told them the video that I would show them was, what's Tom, the dentist? You know which one I'm talking about? There was like some guy on there that wanted to be a dentist, and Gary V's like, he's like, you don't want to be a dentist. If you grow up and be a dentist, I'm going to build a dentist place next to yours and shut yours down. Like, and
she wants me to take over her dental practice because she is the owner of her own practice. So yeah, there's that complication too. So
no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No. Tom, yeah. I won't let you. I will go to Toronto and put you out of business and start my own dental practice if you do that.
Oh, okay.
You can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Tom, you're gonna be sad.
So he's just like going in on him, like, you don't really want to be a dentist. You better not be a dentist. Like, so I would show everybody that clip, and then like, eventually like they reached out to me and was like, yo, Gary wants to like answer your questions. And so man, I ended up on there and it was super cool. But you have, a Gary V story as well, that I think is maybe still being written. Like
Right. I have a few. Yeah.
So what's your Gary V story?
So the way I got introduced to Gary, the restaurant closed, right? I was like, man, I need to learn business. Started doing research on business. Everybody that does business, like they like charge you. Like, I don't have money, I can't be charged. Whatever the case is, that's one direction. And then one of my friends, I'm doing a pop-up with my friends. They're like, yo, Sakari, you got grit. I'm like, grit? What are you talking about? They're like, yo, watch this video. And it's a video of Gary V. So then I started going down this rabbit hole of like understand, okay, like Gary does all this stuff for free, right? All this content for free. Started learning. And I was like, man, if I could just learn from him, I was just like, how can I be close to that? So I was like, I got to provide him some type of value, right? I got to get him to remember me. So I gifted him a 1948 George Mikan rookie card, right? 1948 George Mikan rookie card. I did a pop-up the night before. They were like, Gary comes on Twitter or Instagram. He's like, yo, I'm about to be at this spot this time. I literally just threw on my sweatpants, throwing on like shirt, like rushed out of the car. Like this was before when he wasn't outside like that. You know what I mean? It was like a rare sighting. Went there, gave him the card. Before this, I made a whole documentary about the card, whatever the case is. Reached out to his team. I tried to sell it to him at first. They were like, he's not interested. Got it regraded. I gave it to him. Long story short. And he's like, yo, this is for me. I'm like, yeah, it's for you. So now I was like, okay, at least he'll remember me as the George Mikan kid, like the rookie card kid, whatever. Time goes on. He launches his NFT project. He launches a scholarship program, right? And I'm like, okay, I need this in my life. This is everything that I've been waiting for, wanted. I want to get mentored and etc. So I applied for it, I get denied. I'm like, man, this sucks. I remember seeing Andy in the street at NFTYC, just talking, chopping it up with him. And I remember he made sure that I got into the secret wine party later that day. At this time, I got denied. I was like, listen, bro, I'm not even going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to show you. So I'll see you at the top type of thing. I was really in it. I think the next day, Gary posted the same card I got him a year ago. Gave him a year ago. He posted, he said he's obsessed. I'm like, man, this is crazy that he really enjoys the gift that I gave him, right? Like, it wasn't just something that he just kind of put on the side. He really enjoyed it. Next thing I know, I get an email saying you've been reconsidered for the social scholarship. Then I end up winning the social scholarship. So for those people that don't know, it's a mentorship with Gary. I get one-on-one sessions with him. I also get introduced to his network, right? And then, you know, last time I had a conversation with him, or the time before that, I was like, hey, I want to be in your team. And I had an opportunity, a serendipitous opportunity to be on his team directly. And, you know, just kind of being as close to the sun as possible, interning. Like, I just finished Hell's Kitchen, the television show, and everybody's like, yo, what are you doing interning at an office? But for me, it was the perfect time to learn about branding, social media, marketing, etc. So I just wanted to just be in it and learn new skills and just keep on going. So that's a little bit of the story. And it's still going, it's still growing.
Yeah,
It's still the relationship's still going, and we'll see what happens.
That's super dope. And I like what you said too. Like, sometimes you got to just be in it. And I mean, I feel like that too. You have to really just immerse yourself, you know, if you really want to learn something. And who better to learn it? Who better to learn marketing and branding from than Gary Vee? I mean, what an opportunity. That's super dope, man. Like, and all right, so tell me about this banana pudding, man. Like, I keep seeing everybody talking about, and you said that everything has a story to it. So like, I keep seeing this banana pudding everywhere, and like, I need some. Are you gonna have that? Are you coming to VCon? Or are you gonna have it at VCon? Like, I need this banana pudding. Like, I need to try some. And
We're gonna have it at VCon. We're working on shipping it nationwide. That's in the works. We're gonna have it locally in Manhattan soon, as well. So stay tuned for more information on that. But
what's the story behind it?
Yeah, the story. I sure got you. So it was my dad's favorite dessert growing up, banana pudding. After he passed, I found this big bin of health stuff, right? So he didn't drink, he didn't smoke. And I'm like, okay, he had diabetes as well. So from that experience, turning that trauma into like, you know, something positive, I was like, man, you know, I don't want to just tell stories through food. I don't want to just cook delicious food. I need to make food that people like won't kill people and that like will sustain people, make people happy, you know? So I started coming up with a way to like do that. And I first started off with the green juice, which I do, right? It got featured in New Yorker, you know, we sold thousands, we do it at different NFT events, etc. And then, you know, people really want my food though, right? So like the juice was a nice introduction. When people want my food, I was like, what better way than have like something that is dedicated to my father, and it's healthy for you, you know. So you don't use any processed sugar, you don't use any sugar. You use monk fruit as the main sweetener. You use healthy ingredients, and it's delicious. And for me, like I told Gary, like I told people, it's like it's my mixtape, right? Like people hear me as a chef, they see me on TV, they see me do other cool things, but you need some type of introduction to me. So for me, this is my mixtape. This is an intro to me. For you to get to have an intro and get to know me a little bit, and then we could talk about the things that's a little bit harder, right? Like coming to cook and coming to do these things, etc. Like I just want as many people to have an experience with me. So that's kind of how it started.
That's super dope. That's a really unique way to be able to kind of share yourself with like different people, and then, you know, they tell somebody, that person tells somebody. Like, shoot, I done seen the banana pudding too. I'm like, dang, where's it at? Like,
you're like, what's going on? But like, I think it helps to have something that people can really taste and enjoy and really kind of resonate with them. I don't know. That's something I'm passionate about, you know. And
I feel like too, just how people don't really forget how somebody made them feel. There's like certain foods that like I literally remember in my soul how they tasted. Like, you know, like there's certain stuff that it's like, I need that piece of chicken from this person's granny's kitchen. Like that was the best I ever had. Like, you know, like it's like really specific. So no, I can definitely see that resonating with people. So you were on this season of Hell's Kitchen. I'm sure that was quite the experience. I have to ask, is Gordon Ramsay like as intense in person as he is on TV, or like?
You can feel his presence as soon as he walks in. I'll say that. you feel it. Like you're like, oh, he's here. You know what I'm saying? Like the president of the United States, oh, he's here. Like, you know, he's actually a really nice guy. You know what I mean? He's an amazing, talented chef. I think the way that edit sometimes obviously can maybe amplify it a bit, but you know, Gordon really is an amazing chef, and he really is, you know, someone that has built an incredible brand, and someone that like he tells you your food is good, it means something, you know. So I don't know. I think obviously he has bad rep and stuff like that sometimes, depending on which side of the coin you see. But it was just an amazing experience, and like I don't know, I couldn't have asked for a better experience.
No, definitely. And like you said, it's, you know, kind of an honor when he tells you, you know, that your food is good. If I'm correct, on the show, this season you were one of the first ones for him to say, you know, like, yeah, this is fire. Like,
Is he pulling this off? He didn't only wow me, but he wowed the pants off Chef Ramsey too.
I'm just sad that I can only give you 5. Congratulations.
how did that feel?
That felt, so the way it goes is like you don't know which dish you're gonna make. You know what I mean? So I didn't know which dish I was gonna make. I ended up making the oyster stew for him. The story behind the oyster stew was dedicated to one of my mentors, Mark Tate, and also Thomas Downey. So Thomas Downey was known as the Oyster King back in the 1800s, African American, and we made this oyster stew. I had no idea what he was gonna think about it, what Gordon was gonna think about it, whatever it is. And you know, he ended up giving it a 5 out of 5, and it was just crazy. It just was insane, you know. And then I ended up winning that challenge for that. Like I had the best dish there, and it was a dish that he says that he remembers, and he thinks it's one of the best dishes, signature dishes of ever at Hell's Kitchen. You know.
Oh wow.
So that meant a lot, and for me, I couldn't really take it in because I was like, man, the only way to go down is down now. You know what I mean? Like we got to keep this up. So I was just so head focused on the competition, I couldn't really take it in, but it's something that I'll remember for the rest of my life for sure.
That makes sense. It's funny because like before, like you on, honestly, I've never seen Hell's Kitchen before. I've seen other Gordon Ramsay shows like 24 Hours to Hell and Back and like, you know, like different things, but I've never seen Hell's Kitchen before. Like you were on there. And I was like, oh wow, like that's my boy from Instagram. I gotta, you know,
Let's
like
go.
check this out or whatever. And like it's funny because like my son, he's 8 and he like watch it with me, which I think is like really cool. He was like, I'm only rooting for Sakari. I'm like, you
Let's
don't even know.
go.
Like, you
Come
know,
on.
he's like, no, I want their food to be bad. I'm like, relax, like, you know, like it's okay, bro. But like
Let's go.
it was just funny though, because like I think too, like I mean, he's young, you know, he's mixed, like he probably sees him like, you know, like, oh, that's somebody like me, like, you know, like, and he sees that. And I mean, that's, you know, part of like the inspiration behind my podcast too, is like being able to connect with people that, you know, other people can see themselves within and, you know, be inspired by. So I thought that was kind of cool. But before I saw Hell's Kitchen, I just thought it was like a normal, like I've seen like bits and pieces of it, you know, you see him yelling at people and y'all like running around the kitchen, but like, I just thought it was like just your average like cooking show, but y'all were getting like slimed on with food. He drove through like a wall with a monster truck. Like he had y'all going down water slides. Like what was, I guess, the most fun part that you might not have expected?
Palm Springs was the most fun. We went to Palm Springs. I forgot which challenge we won, but we won, and we ended up getting to go to Palm Springs. And the thing is, anytime you win a challenge, it means so much because you need to get out of Hell's Kitchen. It's really hell. Like it's not no. It's like a boot camp. It's real. You know what I mean? So you're like, yo, I get to go out. I get to have real food. None of the college dorm stuff that we like. Oh, Hot Pockets and stuff. Like that's what we were eating. So for us to be able to kind of go out and really be able to like go to a place like Palm Springs, never been, you know what I mean, and enjoy it. We was in a pool. We had good food. Like incredible.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, insane.
And you definitely want to skip out on the punishments. Those punishments were crazy too. I was like, man.
Yeah, yo, the worst punishment. Like I had 2 of the worst punishments, which was
the fish one.
Dorms. That one smelled crazy, and then you figure the when I had to put on the apron, not the apron, the skirt that they made me put on. And then they wanted me to clean the dorms and everything like that. I was about to, I was like, listen, I feel like, I feel demoralized. I feel like a slave. Like, I was like, this is terrible. I was like, I'm about to, I was like, listen, like,
you can't go up to Gordon Ramsay and be like, I feel like a slave right now. He would have tore into you.
I would have told him. That's how I was feeling. That's how I was feeling. I was like, this is so I can't. I
They
was
would
like,
have
yo,
they would have
honestly,
edited that up. They would have edited that up all wrong too. That would not have been
oh yeah, no, I said it. They edited it out. I said it.
no.
You know, I said it. It's like, that's how I feel. I can't. You know, like I can't help how I feel. They also like, yeah, I can't help how I feel. I'm very transparent. It's like, yo, if I don't want to do this, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, no,
Kick me
definitely.
off. Kick me off. I don't know. But it was a fun time. I had to remember to like have fun with it. You know what I mean? So that's what I did. But it was definitely one of the worst punishments. Definitely.
So
Yeah.
on the show and through kind of your own endeavors, you've been able to like create with food now, and you've been able to cook for kind of a host of celebrities. Has there been anyone that you've been a little bit starstruck by, or somebody that was kind of your favorite?
I cooked for Jandena, which was a cool full circle moment because I remember doing a stroll with my fraternity. So strolling is just like a dance. I did
Yeah.
like a fraternity dance to his music, like the most popular song, which was I'm a classic, man. You know what I mean? And I remember that era. I remember that time of like really, really kind of transitioning from like streetwear, New York City vibes, right? To
Mhm.
like wearing suits. And like it was a movement. It wasn't just like
Yeah.
him doing his thing. It was like, nah, I want to be a classic, man. You know what I mean? I remember going to parties and having that vibe and stuff like that. So to be able to cook for him and have that memory of that, I mean, and to still us have a relationship now and like, you know what I mean? We talk like stuff like that and build that relationship, I think is incredible. So I think that full circle moment meant a lot.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's
But
funny that you oh no,
I
go
try
ahead.
I try not to get starstruck though. I try to remember, like I remember getting starstruck one time with Dame Dash. I was on a clubhouse with Dame Dash. Dame Dash for me was one of the most inspirational people for me personally, along with Gary, because he inspired me really to become an entrepreneur and do my thing. And I remember I was on a clubhouse call with him and I was just so nervous. I was like, I like messed up the whole pitch. Like I was just like, and I'm happy that happened to me because if I never went through that experience, I would have never known on what to do when I do meet people that inspire me and stuff like that. And just remember that they're regular people, and then I just treat them like they're normal
Yeah,
because they are
definitely.
normal. You know what
And
I
I
mean?
feel like they appreciate that more than I mean, I'm sure they love the compliments and things like that, but you know, a lot of times they just want to be treated, you know, like a normal
Yeah,
person, and
100%.
definitely. Tell me a little bit about Noble Promise Studios and how you're using your platform.
So start off as an NFT project, you know, and it's using to fund to build like a basic media platform for emerging talent. You know, our long-term ambition is to open up an actual studio where we can do podcasts and things like that and have our art showcase to showcase other talent. But what it really was like, you know, I just needed a machine, a storytelling machine. I needed something, you know what I mean? And, you know, Gary inspired me a lot and he was just like, you know, you need to treat everything like you're a media company. So we launched a media company, you know what I mean? Like we had to do it. So for me, it's the coolest part is because it's much bigger than me. People might not see it now, they might not understand it now until 5, 10 years from now, but that's cool, right? But the point of like, I really believe in it. And it's just so dope to have something that's bigger than yourself, right? Where it's much bigger than your personal brand. It's a platform to showcase my brother's work or to showcase so-and-so. And just to keep building it, you know what I mean? And just leave an impact.
No, definitely. I love that. It's funny too, because like that's like part of why I wanted to get into podcasting, because I felt like and you know, some people just choose to do like a solo podcast, but I was like, man, I feel like I know so many dope people that like I love
Right.
to like help them, you know, tell their
100%.
stories. And
It's the way it started was like I was just tight that like Food Network and people like Hell's Kitchen wasn't reaching out to me. So I was like, we're just gonna build our own table. I'm gonna build my own Food
yeah,
Network. I'm gonna build my own remote. You know what I mean? Like
man,
I was just pissed. I was like, man, like why aren't I deserving of this opportunity or why aren't I deserving of that opportunity? So I was like, man, forget it. I'm just gonna create my own opportunities. You know what I mean? And now I'm blessed and continue to create my own network. You know what I mean? And like if you look at Kevin Hart, he has a Plastic Cup Boys, right? You look at J. Cole, he has Dreamville, right? Like, we all create opportunities for other people, and I think that's what it's about. So I gotta put myself first, of course, and I gotta put my head down, focus, work hard. But I can't wait to be able to give back. Because that's what you do as a chef, right? Like you share a part of your heart with the guest or with the customer or with whoever. So to be able to do that for my friends, that to give them opportunities, give them jobs and showcase their work and etc. I think is going to be the most fulfilling moment, of my life when that moment comes. So we're just gonna keep building.
No, definitely, man. I agree 100%, and I mean, I think that's really a bar right there. Is if you're not invited to the table, man, you either pull up a chair or just start creating your own table over there, away from everybody else, and then all of a sudden, those same people that didn't invite you to your table will be trying to get at yours, like.
100%.
And I'm sure that's happening to you now. Like, well, now, I mean, yeah, you're on Hell's Kitchen now. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's going to continue to happen, man. We're going to continue to build this thing until, you know what it is? I'm blessed to know how to get my foot in the door and like bang down that door. Because I just feel like I'm fearless, I'm bold, like I believe in myself, I'm confident, I'm fulfilled in life. I want to do that for other people too. You know what I mean? And want to help other people do that. So we just want to keep doing it.
Definitely. I agree, man. I'm like that too. I mean, shoot, like just even the people that I've interviewed, so far, like with my podcast, like tomorrow's my 1-year anniversary, and like a lot of people like, dang, I can't believe you interviewed so and so and so and so, and I'm like, man, I should be shooting my shot, like I talk to people, I connect with them, like and like that's what it's all about, like. And
you have a favorite? You have a favorite person that you interviewed?
Dang, I don't want to. I feel bad because like a lot of people I like, know and like I'm like really cool with on a personal level, but
or first person that comes to your mind. So maybe not your favorite. So
okay,
first person that comes to your mind.
My boy Coda the Friend. Do you know who Coda the Friend is? He's a Brooklyn rapper. Okay. He's blowing up, man. He's definitely like next up, but that'll probably be like one of my favorites, like for sure. And then my brother, we like grew up together. His name's Brandon. He has a puppets group. They like roast people on like Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. They're hilarious. So like that interview was comedy. So like those are probably two of my favorites. But
I love it. I love what you're doing.
You said what?
I love what you're doing. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And man, I appreciate you, taking time out your day and being flexible with me too, because this was rough to get this schedule. But I mean, I really appreciate these conversations, and like they give me, just like a new outlook on business and like life. And then I'm able to share that with people I know that appreciate this. So that's what it means to me. Like,
appreciate it. That means a lot. I mean, I'm happy you're able to make it happen. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Man, and hopefully we'll see each other at VCon. Thanks for the tip on the fact that it was in Indianapolis. Man, I can't believe I missed that. Like,
I can't believe you missed that. I don't understand.
That's what I'm saying. I can't believe I missed that, but I'm definitely in there now. I'll have to go order my tickets now if they're available 100%. Already. Like,
yeah. I'm in there. I'm gonna be there. It's gonna be a fun time at VCon. I will be there. We do with some work, some behind the scenes stuff. So that's gonna be fun. And for me, like my number one thing right now is just building relationships, continue just to build. You know what I mean? And like not stop it. So it's really good.
Most definitely. Man. Well, you got anything else you want to say to the pod, to the people?
To the people, to the peeps.
To New York.
New York. Shout out New York. Love New York. Come on. I don't know, man. I think just self-belief is so important. I think like you really got to believe in yourself. You got to really just whatever that thing is for you, just finding that thing, whether it's doing a podcast, whether it's cooking, whatever it is, just do it for you first. And just believe in yourself. And anything you manifest, you close your eyes, you dream as big as you want, and then just manifest. I think same thing what you did with manifesting with Gary Vee. Same thing what I've done my whole career in my life. I think just manifest whatever it is you want to do, and it will happen. There's nothing to stop you. The only thing to stop you is yourself. So keep going. Let's get it.
Most definitely believe it, and you can achieve it. But
hey, now you're dropping some bars. Come on,
man. But nah, thank you so much, and I appreciate this. And man,
of course, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It means a lot.
No problem.
Can't wait to see you at VCon, and can't wait to see more of your podcast and continue to do your thing.